What's up guys, welcome to another install video. Today I'm going to be installing the brake and clutch levers from Spider. This is a very easy install, but there are two key features that you need to pay attention when you do the install. The most important part of all is the clutch side. Underneath here, the clutch side, there's what we call the clutch actuator that, I don't know if you can see it here, but it's right under there. And what happens is a lot of guys, when they try to change the clutch levers, they break it. And when they break that, a lot of problems arise where the cruise control doesn't work, the bike won't rev past a certain RPM, and that creates issues. I have a video of that, how to change it and how to repair it if that happened to you. And the other part is for the brake lever. Some people struggle to reinsert the pin into the rubber boot here, and I'll show you how to do it to save time. All right, so we're going to start with the brake lever. To remove it, you will need a 10mm wrench and a 4mm hex with a ratchet. I'm gonna start with a 10mm first to remove the knot underneath here. So the knot is right there. That's a 10mm. And the reason we're using a wrench and not a ratchet is because the fairing won't let us clear the distance. There you go. Okay, when the knot is loose enough, make sure you unscrew it with your fingers so that it doesn't drop down the fairings. There you go. There's your 10mm nut. And then next step will be to unscrew the 4mm pin from above. Okay, now that's fully unscrewed, you just pull it slowly out. When you pull it out, this is the pin where the 10mm attaches underneath, and then pull the brake lever slowly. You can see here the rubber boot is also being pulled by the pin. Okay, hold the rubber boot with your fingers in, you don't want to pull it out. There you go. So this is what I was referring to before, that it is a bit of a struggle to reinsert the pin that comes with the Spider, and I'll show you how to make this easier. Stock brake lever is out. Okay, so the Spider brake lever comes with the brake and also with a pin. You do not reuse the stock pin that comes from the stock. So what you need to do is, before you insert the brake lever, you have to insert the pin in here first, into this rubber boot. Now the problem with this rubber boot is a lot of times people struggle to insert it all the way in. So what we're going to do is going to use some Silk Glide. This is just brake lubricant, silicone based. I use it a lot for multiple applications, and it's also very friendly to rubber. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of this silicone paste, and what you're going to do is you're going to insert it first here, all the way in, and then you're going to pull it, because as you can see, it's not all the way in. It has to, the rubber boot has to grab in that notch over there so it doesn't fall off. So you push it in, and as you pull it out, the rubber boot pull all the way out, and you hold it with your fingers here. And while you hold the rubber boot out, basically fold the rubber boot out and insert the pin here, there, and while you hold it in place, there it goes. So now it went between the nuts and now it cannot be removed. Push it back in and then it's in its place. You leave that there. Now the next step I'm going to take a little bit of this silicone and lube the contact points of the brake lever over here. All right, and I'm also going to lube the pin that will secure the brake lever. All right, so now you're gonna take the spider lever and also insert some lube here and underneath. You're gonna place it in here. And this part needs that before you actually place and put the pin in, you have to align it, this pin here, in here. Push it in, make sure you insert that, there. And then when this is in, that's when you push the lever in to align it with the hole and insert the pin. There you go. There, push it in, and then take the 4mm and slowly screw it in. Okay, now when you find resistance, you don't have to over tighten this, it won't go any further in. So once you find resistance, stop there and then insert your 10mm nut underneath. Okay, you're gonna take the 10mm nut, it is a little tricky to get under here because wherever you put the bars, it never clears the fairing. So you have to go slowly underneath. There we go. Tighten by hand as much as it goes, and then use your 10mm wrench again. Again, once you get resistance from it, you don't have to over tighten it. Can't even go anymore, just barely an eighth of a turn, and that's it, you're good to go. All right, of course, always don't just take your bike for a ride, always test your brake while pushing your bike to make sure that the brake master cylinder is activated and that your brakes actually work. Next step, clutch side. A little bit more involved than the brake side, but also very easy. We're gonna start with a 10mm wrench, again, for the 10mm nut under here. As you can see, we don't need a 4mm hex for this, since that it's fixed. Also very tight, but let's see. Okay, in this case, I don't have much room to operate with a 10mm wrench, so what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to use a 10mm socket with a ratchet to be able to go underneath, because the nut is right there. Over there, that's the nut over there. So there's really no space to ratchet with a wrench, so that's why I'm going to use the ratchet in here. Make sure you get a good bite so you don't strip the nut. There you go. And unscrew with short moves since you don't have much space. That's it, and you're loose. Okay, the nut is loose, so I'm gonna try and attempt not to drop it. Let's see if I'm going to succeed. Okay, I did it. Here it is. Success, I did not drop it in there. Okay, now before you actually remove this pin, What I'm going to do is I'm going to release the tension from the clutch lever by adjusting the clutch adjuster cable here. Okay, once you bring it closer to the clutch lever, you need to align this gap here with the gap of the clutch over here. So we can remove the clutch cable. There. Over there. Align these two. Now, the most important part. When you remove this pin, I believe there's also going to be a spacer in there. Make sure you don't lose or drop that. But the most important part is when you pull it, make sure you pull it out and do not break the clutch safety switch. Very important. There you go. Pull the cable through here. There's a clutch safety switch. There's a spacer that just dropped, and that's the clutch safety switch over here. Be very cautious with this. It breaks like it's paper thin. There you go. Now pull this here. We're out. You switch it from here. You see the cable, and no. Stock lever is out. Okay, since we're at it, I might as well change the clutch adjuster, the stock one with the black one, purely for aesthetic reasons, just to keep everything consistent and keep everything black, since I am going to change the clip-ons later on and everything is going to black, matching the clip-ons and the brake lever. So I'm going to change this too. To do that, we're just going to unscrew this out and replace it with this. Okay, insert it all the way in to make it easier to insert the clutch cable. And align it again over there. And we're good to place the spider clutch lever. Okay, next step, we're going to take the spacer that came from the stock clutch lever, and we're also going to use some silicone lube again for it. In there, around it, and underneath. Insert the spacer inside. There you go. Also, the lube helps it keep it in place so it doesn't drop when you try to insert it there. Next step will be to take the clutch cable, insert it into the gap here, pull it in, and then you're gonna twist it like this, pass it through here, and then that's the most tricky and dangerous part, that when you do pass it from here all the way in, do not, over here, do not break the clutch safety switch over here. It's so sensitive and it's very tricky to pass the clutch lever through here, so I have to be very, very cautious doing it. See, as you can see, I'm struggling to place it inside, and this is where it gets frustrating, and a lot of guys try to force it in and they break the clutch safety switch. So take your time with this. Press it in, say now I'm in. I protect the clutch safety switch. There, I'm gonna do an inspection from here, make sure it's all good. Yes. So you can hear it being activated. So we're all good with that. So now we can place the pin above it. Of course, before we place the pin, we're gonna use a little bit of silicone lube again. Inside the pin, over there. And place it back in. Okay, so what happens here is the spacer is not really aligned. So we have to align it. There you go. Okay, now that the pin is inside, we have to place the 10mm nut underneath. Good luck with that. In all this space down here. Okay, what I'm going to do is, because it seems like there's going to be a high chance I'm going to drop the nut down there, I'm going to place just a rug over here to hopefully catch it if I do drop it. Okay, I succeeded to start it by hand. Now, just so you know, if you want to make this easier, a lot more than I made it, you can just loosen up the entire clutch base and just lift the lever up so you have more space underneath. Okay, now that I started, I can take the 10mm again, socket, place it underneath, try to push the pin from the top, and start screwing it. Like we're tight enough. No need to go too tight. Once it stops, core turn. We're good to go. Okay, make sure the pin here on the top is all the way seated down and it's flush because it aligns with the nuts in there. Okay. Okay, obviously our clutch is too loose right now because we have to adjust the adjuster again. This is very simple. Of course, take your time when you adjust this to your preference, and it's good to go. Actuator works, you can hear it. All right, all done. They look great. They also clear the fairings, stock fairings with no issue. Brake and also clutch, lever, both clear perfectly fine. All right. Okay, so why really change them? Well, obviously, as I've said multiple times, aesthetics and looks. I'm going for a specific theme here with a black gas cap. I'm going to install the carbon fiber sticker here from Aprilia factory. I'm going to change the triple clamp with the clip-ons, so everything's gonna look perfectly fine all together. But in reality is that I do prefer the feel. It feels so much better with the spider levels when I brake. Also adjustability, you're able to have better adjustability or where you like it. And another issue that I have found with the stock levers is when you do hard braking, at some point you get brake fade, and the spider levels have the options here to install a remote adjuster over here that you can adjust the distance of the brake lever when you get that brake fade, and I love that feature. Overall, I just think they look great. All right guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned because I have a lot more mods coming up. I really cannot wait to install those carbon fiber frame and swing on covers with the GP22. Also, let me know in the comments, what would you like to see next? What mod is it that would you like to see? And I can potentially do it. So hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.